Hi all, just got me propaganda leaflet and it says, there you go, there's my thingy. I'm just going to pick it apart. Why government believes in voting to remain in the European Union is the best decision for the UK. Or as I say, the government believes remain to remain in the EU is the best decision for the UK. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, I just got some little tidbits on these little things. On Tuesday, 23rd of June, there will be a referendum. It's your opportunity to decide if the UK remains in the European Union. The opportunity. So I got some little tidbits. Opportunity. We have never be given the opportunity at all. Opportunity. Okay. Affects you. Okay. This is the first page. Secured special status. What special status have we got? Right. Okay. Let's go through the list. We will not join the EU, the euro, although our currency has been taken down at least 80% when we pegged it to the euro. That means we can't. That means we have no what's it called? No competitive advantage in the world because of our currency has been fucked by the euro when it's pegged to the pound in 2000. We will keep our own border controls. Ooh, keep our own border controls. Eee, border controls. Border controls. What are you smoking? Border controls. Bollocks. The EU will not remain of any political integration. What? The Franco-British Council? What about the EU army? What about the EU wanting us to have a war with Syria? Yeah. So, yeah, Libya as well. Yeah, Libya. Okay, let's have a look at Libya. France, Germany, um, UK, America went into Libya and blew the living shit out of that place and pulling the terrorists. The financing, the protecting, and the funding through NATO, through MI6 and the CIA. And also to take our liberties and take furthermore clampdowns on gun rights in the UK. Okay. So we can take away our civilities. We have a commitment to ending red tape. Right, red tape. So, red tape. You've got more centralised government, so you've got more centralised police. You've got more centralised police commissioners. You've got more centralised city states. Okay. The leaflet sets out the facts that explain why the government believes a vote to remain in the UK is in the best interest of the people. Believes in the best interest if you refer to the first part of the page. It shows that some of the choices of the UK would face if it votes to leave. So it's basically saying, oh well, if we vote to leave, we'll lose everything. No, we won't lose everything. I'm still here. My family's still here. My dad had a business before we had the EU, and we're still here. Everything. Basically, they're saying if we, it shows some of the choices the UK would face if we leave the EU. Basically, they're saying, oh well, they're threatening us, really, basically. If you would like further information, please visit the government's EU referendum website and the eureferendum.gov.uk. Okay. It is your choice to decide on the future of the UK. Let's have a look. Okay. Stronger economy. That's a very funny thing, isn't it? Stronger economy. The EU is by far the UK. The EU is by far the UK's strongest trading partner. Trading partner. When we lost at least about 50% of our of our GDP average when we sold gold in 2008 during the banking crisis, and yet our gold was sold down at least from 110 tons, and so it went from uh, what is it, 170, and it went down to 44. So it went down to 58 or so. Okay, in 2008, if memory serves. Everything we sell abroad, from cars to insurance, remaining inside the EU guarantees our full access to its single market. What single market is that? Not GDP. The single market. What's the single market? The single market um, involves derivatives, and it involves derivatives, and it involves contracts with companies that don't that have not non-tax status in the UK, and it involves junk bonds and various other things. While our economy and government debt and our national debt, well, every single economy in the EU remains at least about negative or positive of 0.8 to 0.2 GDP. Okay, that is the solid economy. 44%. Where did he get that from? Aerospace is 110,000 jobs. 47%. Chemicals and pharmaceuticals. Yes, those those usual suspects. 136,000 jobs. 54%. Financial services. 1,069,000, which is 44%, 41%. Food manufacturing, 373,000, 53%. IT and telecoms, 1,364,000, which is 44%. And transport is 1,065,000, which is 44%. So okay, let's have a look. Let's have the single market. The single market has over 500 million customers, an economy over 5 times bigger than the UK. Okay. It makes easier and cheaper for companies to come in. So that's when they downgraded our pound, and that's why we are in the negatives, according to Fitch and Standard and Poor's, and according to many other independent sources, which I've found out, because our government debt is 15 trillion. Our national debt is 13.56. Now it's gone up to at least 14, so it's 928 for our GDP. So that means our GDP is worth nothing if you put that away. Okay. Being inside the EU is more attractive for companies to invest in. Fracking. Okay. Meaning more jobs over the past decade. Fracking, that contributes to at least 30% of our economy. That's nothing. 13%. That is invest in 540 billion in the UK, equivalent to 140 billion every day. Okay, so that is 3 days a year equivalent. And if you times that by, so a year, so you divide that, so it's around about 9. That's around about 5, yeah. That's around about 5. So you've got 5, and so what the UK has produced over a year in profits is roughly at least 2%. 2%. So 2% of 540 is at least so look, 2% of 540 is 1.8. 1.8. So they produce it all. So we put that towards that. So that's minuscule. So you've got other companies taking more out than is coming in. So that's why taxes are going up. Taxes have gone up. So the average, if you look at last year and to this year, taxes are roughly gone up at least 10%. With roughly 67% taken off when including rates and including values. Oh yeah, value for money, right? Okay, value for money. Okay, right. Cost of living. Cost of living. Oh, this is a good old jolly one. If the UK voted to leave the EU, the result of the economic shock would pressure on the value of the pound. Ah, the value of the pound. Oh, yeah. But another threat. That's about 4 threats too far. Talking about a bridge too far. About the that film about the Nazi invasion, bridge too far and all that stuff. Which risk higher prices of the household of goods of damage to living standards. Damage to living standards. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. We have got the resource to put in to prevent that, and that is called devaluation. So we can put in the next part of the. So we can put in a currency and the credit of the nation, so it could be offset. So we can trade with the world. We don't need that. That's another threat. That's what you're saying. Losing our access to the EU's single market would prove exporting to Europe harder and increase costs. Okay, it would increase costs, but what about the tariffs? We have our own tariffs. We can charge them. If it increased our costs, we can charge them for using our waters. They've used at least about 5 to 6 billion of our industry. 5 to 6 billion of our industry. So it costs at least 58 million. No, 58 million. 58 million. No, costs around about 7 billion or 9 billion to join the EU because of what we have to pay to the EU, and also 84% of our laws are made by the EU. So down, you've been proven wrong. Millions of UK citizens to travel to Europe each year. The EU has made it easier and cheaper. Cheaper for what? Oh yeah, cheaper for what? We can't purchase anything what we want. Oh yeah, they made it very hard, didn't they? If you go into an airport, you have to buy goods, and you can't have your bottles go over the security area. To have the security area, okay. With you have to purchase things in that area. You have to purchase alcohol. You have to purchase this. You have to purchase that. You have to alcohol, tobacco, and everything. You're paying more. That's why we probably go to the Canaries, because the Canaries is a special zone. but we have to pay more. That's around about, we have to pay at least around about £20 more if we go to the Canaries. If we import stuff in from the Canaries. So that's around about 10 quid. You pay at least an extra 20 quid. So that's 30. So that's from 10 quid. So okay. So €10 to €30. Right, okay. Let's make it simple. You've got at least, so take that, so you've got at least, so take €10 from €30, so you've got 20, so 10, you got a 20% in, no, that, take that away, so you got at least a 5% increase. Alright, okay. 40% lower cost, 40% lower cost in flights. Low cost in flights? No. Low cost in flights means you get no, a low cost in flights, which means you've got the level of pound going down at least another 30%. Then you've got crap all. That means you get a crop of food and you get a crop of flights and you get crap. I know because I've been on flights to and from Europe every single year, and also the flights are crap, and also the service is crap because due to your fucking directives. Next year, mobile phone roaming charges will be abolished across the EU, saving customers up to 30p. Right, okay. Per minute on calls. Oh, so is that a fact? So is that a is that a gesture? Is that a are you begging? Are you begging for us to come back for more gang rape? Right, it costs around about 15 quid a day. Okay. EU membership also gives citizens travelling in other European countries the right of access to fairer, cheaper public healthcare. No, bollocks. Some argue little would change if left the EU, but there would be no guarantees that the UK customers would keep these benefits if we left. So that means we would be essentially that means they want to starve us out, and that's what they want to do. Okay. Voting to leave the EU would create years of uncertainty. Years of uncertainty. Yeah, well, we got the lowest economic. Well, we got the lowest economic growth when we're in the EU. UK judges, the government judges the result in 10 years or more of uncertainty if, as the UK unpicks relationship with the EU and renegotiates the arrangements with the EU and over 50 other countries around the world. Swiss doesn't need the EU. Swiss doesn't trade within the EU that much. The Swiss keeps within its own means. The Swiss keeps even Iceland. They're the ones that put the Prime Minister, put the Finance Minister in jail, put the bankers in jail. The ones that are wanted to sell the Iceland, like what they did with Landsbank, to sell Iceland out to the EU. So basically taking the lead. So 16 billion that they put on the that they put that they signed up to on debt. So the Icelandic people said, no, we're not going to take that. We're going to put you in jail because that's fake. Oh yeah, that's funny. The EU and the UK government put them on the terrorist watch list. So each banker has at least got 71 years in jail. The banksters control the EU. Okay, it could result in some argue that it could quickly, if we want to access the market. Some argue that the strike would quickly, with the EU, would want to access the market. But the government's judgment is that we would be much harder. Less than 8% of our exports would come from the from the less. Hang on a minute. But the government's judgment, the government's judgment, oh yeah, judgment, is that it would be much harder than that. Less of 8% of EU exports come from the EU, while 44% of exports go to the EU. So 44% of our exports. So they fucked us out, didn't we? We can't. We've got all these directives on us. We can't use our fish, and we can't export to other countries. Well, we're losing at least about 90 billion in fisheries. Yeah, about 90 to 120 billion in fisheries. We can't fish on our own things, and yet due to some fucking loophole, they can come in, and then fucking then Spanish trawlers can come in, and then fucking Danish trawlers, Dutch trawlers, French trawlers can come in and fucking take our fish and then sell that. We can't even use our fish in the North Sea. That's around about 2% taken off. Okay. No other country has managed to secure the significant access to the single market. No other country has managed to secure significant access to the single market without having to follow EU rules, which, yes, okay, you've got Denmark. Well, paying to the EU. Okay. Well, okay, if Norway and Denmark want to come into our waters, we should charge them. But we have to pay them, you see. You see what I mean? We have to pay them so they can take the fish off us. Fuck's sake. Paying to the EU. Except citizens living and working in their country. Except citizens living and working in their country. Right? Except citizens. What citizens? No other country. Let's read it again. No other country has managed to secure significant access to the single market with having to follow the EU rules over which they have no real say. Except citizens within their except to pay into the EU, except citizens living within their own country. You don't have a say. If you're going to come here and you're going to follow laws and you're going to pay taxes, this is not a fucking bullet point. This is one fucking paragraph. There's not one fucking bullet point. A more a more limited trade deal with the EU would give the EU less access to the same thing than we have now, including services for which make up the most of 80%. 80% of services, okay, including, for example, including the economy. Canada's deal with the EU will give limited access to services. We're already a Commonwealth country. We already had the trade routes in place before the EU was established in 1958, which was the EU single common market, which is the steel industry, by an incredibly clever ruse when it was established by the Bilderberg Group. It has by far been the 7 years in making. It's still not in force. Yeah, we shall keep it in force. The EU is not part of the border-free zone. We control the border-free zone. How come that the French control our UK ports and say we can't scan the fucking people coming in and out? Oh, due to health and safety. What a bit of a juxtaposition. Right, okay. The UK is not part of the EU border zone. We control our own borders, which gives us the right to check everyone, including EU nationals arriving from continental Europe. Immigration. Yeah, immigration, around about 900,000 a year. 900,000 a year. Let's say it's gone to 3 million a year. 3 million a year. So 900,000 from 3 million. You've got at least 29. You've got at least 29,000. 900,000 for 3 million. Yeah, you've got at least two. Yeah, 200. Yeah, you've got at least 210,000. So let's have a look at that. To add that to 3 million. So what you've got is you've got 1 point. You've got at least 1.4. So it's gone at least 14% within 10 years. Okay. 14%, or if you times it from 20 years, if you times it from 20 years, it's gone up at least 28%. Okay. EU nationals arriving from the continental Europe has negotiated a deal that will make our benefits system to draw less of a draw for EU citizens. In future, immigrants will have full access to the certain benefits that they've worked for up to 4 years. 4 years. 4 years. They allow them in, and then then they allow them in, right? Oh, the EU immigrants, no, they don't get a benefit out. You got the other ones coming outside the EU, and then they get another benefits that they've worked up to 4 years. Then you got other people coming in that they worked up to 4 years. Most of the people are fucking off back to Poland. Most of the people are fucking off back to Spain. Because the reason why, because they've been fucked over by the EU, because they prefer in their own countries, for fuck's sake. I mean, did they've worked up to 4 years? No. You got people going, yeah, like I said, they got people going back to other countries. People hate it. And you got other immigrants coming in. So the people as well as in Britain, the people in the continent are just as fucked over as we are. That's why. Have you heard of the Kalergi plan? For fuck's sake. Immigration, how action is abuse of our immigration. The government will have greater powers to take action over where the abuse of our immigrations, where there is abuse of our immigration system. Where there is abuse. I was in the admission now, right? Some argue that leaving the EU would give us more freedom and limit immigration. Yes, it would. It would give us freedom and limit immigration. Yes, because that's true. Because we didn't have more immigration till we didn't have more immigration till when we signed up to the Maastricht Treaty. Until the Nice Treaty. Okay. But in the return for economic benefits to access to the EU's single market, non-EU countries such as Norway had accepted the right of all EU citizens to live and work in their country. Right, okay. They have the right, okay. But it seems to have to accept the right of all citizens to live in their country, to accept. So what is this? To accept. Okay, they've got special arrangements, but what arrangements are they? Are they being held to ransom? Are they going to be used as a slag pile now? That's another thing. The EU membership means, keeping us safer. Oh yeah, safer. They had all these terrorist attacks in Europe, didn't we? Oh yeah, they're having all these Yeah. Oh yeah, the false flag terrorist attacks. The false flag terrorist attacks. The CIA, MI6, NATO are behind. Operation Gladio. Keeping us safer. And you want to... you can hardly lay your hand on a fucking pistol or a rifle or have any protection in Europe because of all this fucking immigration coming in. Because you brought them in there, you should be arrested. Yeah, and you want to take more guns in the UK, and away more guns in the EU. In EU countries. Not EU countries, countries. Yeah. Tell us something I don't fucking know. It will have access to... 27 EU countries will have access to fingerprint and DNA information. Talk about Minority Report. This is coming out. EU cooperation makes it easier to keep... EU cooperation... It makes it easier. Makes it easier to keep terrorists and criminals out. To keep criminals and terrorists out of the UK since 2004. Using European arrest warrant. Over 1,000 suspects have faced justice in the UK. Over 7,000 have been extradited. So, where is the information? Where is the information? I want to know. Where is the information? Okay. The EU is a part of the UK is a part of the EU. Is part of the EU group of 28 countries which exist to promote economic security, peace, stability, and single free trade market. Free trade, yeah, right. Without taxes between borders when we have to pay tax. That's bollocks. The UK has secured a special status in the EU, has kept the pound. Oh yeah, the pound. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. The benefits of You can go for the benefits of EU membership if you go to that website. We have ensured that no UK powers have been transferred. No UK powers have been transferred. Tell me another fable. The UK keep full access of the single market with say on its rules for every pound paid in tax. For every pound paid in tax. For every one pence goes to the EU. 1 pence goes to the EU. 58 million. Around about over 90 pence. 58 million divided by 65. Around about 80 pence. Okay. That's including tax, by the way. If you don't know. The government judges that the UK gets back the opportunities to job creation, economic opportunity, job creation, economic security from EU membership far outweighs the cost. Far outweighs the cost. Well, you very, very well shot yourself in your own foot. Opportunities for you and your children for EU membership means you and your family have the right to live, work, study abroad in 27 other member countries, including guarantees and employment rights. Okay? Employment rights, okay? Employment rights! Bollocks. They can come over here and have employment rights. What about people going over to say, are they in countries like Spain, France, Italy, Germany, and they want to work and they want to study over into them countries? No. They get paid. They have more taken away. They have more employment rights taken up. Employment rights in the UK, in the EU. Sorry, come again. Well, there's a lot of people coming back to the UK to work at least 40 to 60 hours a week, and they're coming back to the UK because they can't. So they can't have any more healthcare. They can't have any of this, and they're getting overtaxed over in the EU as well. Come again. Excuse me. The UK is strong in an independent nation. Our EU membership magnifies our EU membership magnifies the UK's ability to get its way on issues that we care about. The EU action helped prevent Iran obtaining nuclear weapons. EU action helped obtain the Iran nuclear weapons. So they're basically threatening us. And the EU is leading the world in tackling climate change. That very, 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 very unclear, unresearched, and also bogus subject, climate change. So you're having your play with the words? You've been proven wrong every single time. Every single time. Oh, generations. Generations, is it? Okay. The referendum on Thursday is due for your... the EU referendum is the biggest decision in your life. Okay. Once in a generation decision. The referendum on Thursday is your chance to decide to remain in the European Union. The government believes that it is in the best interest of blah 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 blah. You're doing your decisions to implement what you decide. Blah, blah, blah. About my vote, yeah. That's a once in a generation decision. And that is that. That is all torn apart. Every single bit of it. Every single bit of it. So, I'm going to tell you now. What I've written in that fucking leaflet right now is all shit. Is all obfuscation of the truth. So, I would say, read through it, look through what I said, and if I am bullshitting, answers on the postcard, please. Or comment me on my posts within Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Comments below